Okay, in this unit, we're going to do something that we do a lot in Sartopo, which is to draw lines. When we go to add a line, and I'm going to right-click and say New Line, the first thing I want you to notice is we get some instructions on the screen. This says click to draw, shift-click for freehand, and double-click to stop. The other thing that happens when we say we want to draw a line is we get this little mini window up here which says Snap To. At the moment I'm going to say Snap to None. We will talk about Snap Tos later. I also get the box down here for drawing a line where I can give a line a label. Make some comments about what the line type is. I can change the color, I can change the width of the line. I can put arrows on the line if I like to. So I have different possibilities of how to make the line look. Depending on what I'm doing with the line, if it's, for example, something that I want to save later on, I could put it in a different folder other than lines and polygons. It defaults to lines and polygons, and that's where I'm going to let it go at the moment. Okay, so in drawing a line, I'm just going to first click, and then I'll click in a second spot, I'll click in a third, I'll click in a fourth. Okay, so each click we just get a straight line between the clicks. However, if I hold the shift key down and now click and hold the mouse key down as well, I can freehand draw, which means I can try to do circles, I can do whatever else. Okay, and then finally if I double click, my line is finished. Okay, now you notice over here under lines and polygons I have a line. It's come up with the name of NA because I didn't put anything in the box to name it. This is fine, however there is an advantage to naming lines, and I'm going to show you why we would do that. So if I give the line, I'm going to edit it, and I'm going to go back and give it a name. I'm going to just call it line 1 for sake of nothing else. Now, also in editing a line, you notice here's where I did my first initial clicks. A click, a click, and a click. These little square boxes now allow us to edit the line. So I can pick any box and I can move it, and that'll change the line. And every time I do that, it creates a new box midpoint between the two boxes that I just moved. So I now have a new midpoint here. I can click and drag that. It created a new midpoint here. I can click and drag that. That allows me to move my line in any area that I want. Okay? Now, since I've edited the line, I can say OK now. And this is my line now. And now you can see over here, it has the name line 1, which is the name I gave it. Now let's assume for the moment that I really do not want all of this section up here. Okay? I can come here, and you notice my cursor, my mouse cursor is currently a hand. As soon as I move over the line, the hand changes to a finger, okay, and then the line highlights. If I do a right click on a line, I can come down and say modify, which allows me to do a couple things. But the thing I want to do at the moment is I want to split the line right here. Okay, now having split it, I now have two line number 1s. Okay, so it keeps the same name, it doesn't give it a new one. So you have to be careful, because now when you want to go back to delete, you can't just delete line 1, you have to know which part you're actually looking at. So if you mouse back over, you can now see that the part which was the hand-drawn, the squiggly line, is now highlighted. So I can then right-click, and I can delete that line. Okay, so now one of my line ones has gone away, the other is still here. Okay, I'm going to do that. Also under modify, I can convert a line, I can copy it, I could turn it into a line assignment if I wanted to. I could turn it into a track if I wanted to. A track would just allow me to attach it to an assignment, but doesn't really have any other value than that, and we don't. The tendency now is not to attach tracks to assignments, but to leave them separate. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But under modify, I want to come back up and I'm going to split it again. And you can see now I have a line 1 here. And if I mouse over it, and I have a line 1 over here. And with the split mark being down here by Minaret Drive. I'm going to modify this line. So I'm going to go to Edit. And I'm going to drag the screen so I can get that box out of the way. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to move the point over to here. Okay? And then I'm just going to say OK. Now again, I have 2 line 1s. Just for simplicity, I'm going to click on this line. And say Edit, and I'm going to change it to line 2. I could leave it named line 1, but I'm going to name it line 2 just for purposes, and we can see now that over here there's a line 1 and a line 2. Now the reason for naming it is this. Let's say I want to join these lines. Okay? I can modify and I can say join this line with. Now the only way you can join line, and here goes, the line must be named. Since I only have 2 lines, it knows that I want to join it with line number 2. So I'll say join, and now it puts them together. Now we have just one line again, back to line 1. And if I click anywhere on it, you can see it all highlights. Okay, so this allow you to join 2 lines together, and it's pretty useful in that sense. Okay, the next thing I want to show you is, and I'm going to delete this line, so I can come back over here, I can edit it, I can delete it. Okay, the next thing I want to show you is what happens when we turn. So I'm going to do a new line again, new line, and as soon as I do, I get the snap to up here again. Okay, so this time I'm going to turn on the snap to, and I'm going to say snap to OpenStreetMap, which is the maps that we have up here on the screen. Now you can see when I click, I can mouse to any spot and it will try to follow the shortest distance to that spot via the streets. So I can click there, I can come over to here. Now, let's say I don't want to go this way, okay? I want to get to this point, but I don't want to go that route. I might actually have to do part way via another path, and then finally come back and click. Okay, that gives me the ability to get to where I want to go, even though the map itself may try to reroute me. The other thing I can do is I can turn off Snap to, and now I'm just drawing lines again. So I can come back here, I can go to here, I can go to here, and then I can turn Snap to back on, and now it'll try to follow well, assuming it can make it, let me start a line there. Now it'll try to follow the streets again, okay, and give me the shortest distance. In this case, it's going to be this way. Okay, so that's snap to finish that line. And I want to show you one other possibility on snap to. So I'm going to create a new line down here. I'm right-clicking new line. There we go. And I have one other choice, and that is I can snap to hydro. Now what this will try to do is it'll try to find all the areas that are water on the map. Okay? So for example, if we had a drainage that we're trying to follow, this will try to follow that drainage. And so it can make following water, for example, a pretty good thing. Now let's assume, just by mistake, I click up here. I didn't mean to, I meant to drag the map, and instead I ended up clicking. I can go back, and by hitting the escape key, I'm here, I can hit the escape key, it'll cancel that last line. If I hit the escape key again, it'll cancel that last line. If I hit the escape key again, it cancels that one. And then I can go back up. Whoops, I've just done it. I clicked trying to move the screen. Okay, so now, once I get back on trail, let's see here. Now it'll follow again. And this is, using this follow or snap to is so much nicer than trying to draw this by hand. The first time I started using Sartopo, I tried to follow a track by hand, a single path, and it took forever. Learning about the snap to was a big difference. Okay, so that's the key things to know about drawing lines.